If I draw a dotted line from Isabella to Keith, like, would you know that they're getting married, or should I feel like
Put an M.
How's this work then?
Hit the.
I got it. That's cool.
It's just skill. Also.
So the wife of Heathcliff is Isabella,
Yeah.
and they give birth to a
So
son.
they're married, and we know that they're going to have a son because we knew that from earlier.
Who
And then the
marries-
son is dead.
He marries Kathy.
What? We don't know that because you haven't met Kathy yet.
Well, that's what I have on my paper.
Alright, Catherine has now married Edgar.
So Isabella will get pregnant soon, though, even though she wasn't pregnant.
Yes, we know that they will have a child because we know from the beginning that he was married with a son that's dead.
Uh-huh.
Wait, Isabella's dead by the time we meet them, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
By 1801, Isabella is dead and the son is dead.
Good.
Alright, and we know that Catherine and Edgar are pregnant, so they will have a child.
Catherine,
You will meet that child tonight.
Edgar,
And then we have Kinsley.
child.
Catherine and Edgar.
Mary Francis.
And his son is Harrington, right?
And their son is Hareton, yes.
Who's Henley?
This has been the most confusing family ever.
Where's Henley?
It's worse than my family.
It's not that
They're
bad.
dead.
That's just.
They're dead. Yeah, Francis died in chapter
Is both Mr. Earnshaw and Mr. Earnshaw dead?
8. Yes, Mr. and Mrs. Earnshaw are dead, Mr. and Mrs. Linton are dead. Francis dies in chapter 8. We know that these two will die, but they're not dead yet,
Everybody.
as we're going through again.
This is my newspaper.
Yeah? Not everyone will die before the novel is over. A lot of them will, but not everybody.
Does Heathcliff die before the novels are in there?
Yes. No.
Yep.
He takes over.
Not everyone dies.
I bet
And
Nellie
Picks up
lives.
people.
These are the only two people that you haven't met yet, so this won't get any, well, there won't be any more characters to complicate things. These will be all of the characters.
It'll just get complicated by
These two.
itself.
You'll meet this, yeah, it'll get complicated within this. Or it's not that complicated. Okay.
Had to draw.
That's a visibility. Is it Jane Austen? Okay, we chapter 8,
Here's your beat, sir.
Alright, let's start on chapter 9. That's page 54 and 55.
Right. Who cares about that?
Yeah.
Alright,
Yeah.
we're gonna start on 54 and 55. This is chapter 9. And this is,
You, Greg.
yes.
Greg. Yeah, our rookie for the
We are
Bears.
at this point in the
Hey,
year
we're- Said he's gonna be really good this year.
Danny, I'll tell What page?
54
We
and
have
55.
Dominic Brown. He's gonna be good this year too.
And this is the scene where Nellie and Catherine are sitting outside in the garden, and Catherine is about to ask Nellie, should she marry Edgar?
And Heathcliff's right there, right?
Yes, and Heathcliff is standing in the background listening to their conversation.
And then he finds out that she's gonna marry him, and he gets really pissed off. And then
Well,
He runs
he
away.
leaves
She
in the
says
middle of the
something.
conversation and doesn't hear the part when she tells Nellie how much she really loves him.
Yeah.
She just hears the part He just hears the part that she's gonna marry.
And she says something mean about him too, like, I don't want to stoop to.
Yeah, she says that it would be like beneath her
Yeah.
to marry him, and that kind of makes him.
Well, that would make sense
Upset.
because A, he's a gypsy, and B, they're brother and sister, so.
Right.
She had like
They're- Right.
They
Again,
might be.
This is the part that's going to depend on what sort of theory you subscribe to, whether or not he's an illegitimate child or just a random gypsy child that was picked up on the
Is
side
this
of
a
the
glimpse
street.
into like Emily Bronte's life?
What?
Was there a lot of incest in Emily Bronte's
I
life?
don't
Or
think so.
because how could you just come up with that idea?
Yeah, there
She
was.
lived by herself in a house and
never got married.
friends. Lots of time to think of crazy imaginative things. Okay, so Heathcliff is hiding in the garden. I think we need to go to the next page. Okay, yeah, let's go to 56. Halfway through the page, a little bit more than halfway, she's talking to Nellie, and she says, "Today, Edgar Litton's asked to marry me, and I've given him an answer. Now, before I tell you whether it was a consent or denial, you must tell me what you think it ought to have been."
That's awkward.
Yeah, like, hey, that's kind of a precarious situation to put Nellie in, because if she says, "No, you shouldn't have married him," then
It's like, see you then.
yeah, then there's not really anything she can do about it, so there's kind of not really much point. But Nellie, of course, says that she doesn't think that Catherine should have married Edgar. And Catherine says, "Well, that's too bad. I said yes." And so they have this conversation as to why Catherine is going to agree to marry him. And this is on 57. Nellie asks, "Why do you love him?" And she says, "Nonsense, I do, that's sufficient." And she says, "No, you must say why." And she says, "Because he is handsome and pleasant to be with." Bad was my commentary. "And because he is young and cheerful." Bad still. "And because he loves me." Indifferent. "And he will be rich. And I shall like to be the greatest woman of the neighborhood, and I shall be proud of having such a husband." Okay, so what are the reasons why she wants to marry Edgar?
Money.
Money.
He has money, he's good looking,
He's pleasant to be
He's
around.
young and
pleasant
cheerful.
to be around, he's young and cheerful,
That won't be forever.
He's dreaming.
and he's dreamy. And he loves her back. Do you think these are good reasons to marry somebody?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Or any of all of them
Yes.
good reasons to marry somebody?
Yes.
No.
All of them are good reasons to marry someone.
She loves them.
She doesn't say that she loves him.
Well, she says, I do.
Right, okay.
Well, it could also be I do like him, so.
Or
Yeah,
he
it
loves his
kind of
money.
says that she stopped. She says.
Yeah, I do love his money. I do love that he's young. The fact that he's young is something that's probably going to change as he gets older.
No, that's not.
Then
that's
he
not
won't
how-
be young anymore. So that's not really a valid reason to marry
That's not
somebody.
how it works.
She wants to give money to Heathcliff.
Maybe she wants to die first until we let her call his money.
This
So
is
why would
weird.
she want him young? Because they took those first, and then she gets all his money. Because he's younger
They
than
just call me a bad
her.
name.
So how does he die first? I don't know.
She's just banking on that. Yeah. And then there is this whole covert plot that she'll marry him and get his money, but then she'll give the money to Heathcliff,
But that's the worst.
and they can be this happy little threesome, and she'll just be really good friends with Heathcliff and give him all of Edgar's money, and Edgar won't
That's a
mind.
dick move.
That's a.
Does that seem like a good plan that's going to work?
No.
Yeah.
For lack of better words,
She
that's
took
a
my
dick
idea.
move.
Yeah, this is not seeming like it's gonna work out well. What kind of problems is she going to run into by marrying the man for his money and then secretly taking his money and giving it to the guy she probably should be marrying?
Well, if I found out, I would not be very happy.
Yeah, because rich people tend to count their money.
Well, I did.
I'm not saying you did.
Yeah, this is getting a little
How long did it take you?
Yeah,
So,
You're retarded.
So,
the two siblings
What
married.
did you do all week?
yes. So Catherine and Heathcliff have this little heart because they're. So she's gonna marry Edgar because Edgar has money, but she's gonna take Edgar's money and give it to Heathcliff, and then be married to him, but have this really open friendship, lover relationship with Heathcliff. And she thinks Edgar's gonna be okay with that.
Was Heathcliff